Hello everyone, Mythic here, and welcome to the long-awaited continuation of the Lucium Total War European Edition update video series. There are a lot of changes that we have been making over these last 3 months, but we didn't feel like we had anything tangible enough to show until recently. As we continue with development and adding more factions, the update videos will become more frequent, but they are still going to be on a month-to-month basis. There are a number of things that we need to get done in this episode and that we need to talk about so you guys can get the rundown of everything that's happening in 3.0 so far. Starting with this lovely menu soundtrack. So peaceful, isn't it? Anyway, we've also changed the background image, if that interests you at all. We're going to continue on to our units. There are going to be a bunch of different unit things we need to look at, so we're going to hop right into our units. Now, obviously, like we planned with our new units, we've added a completely new tier of units, which is based around the Napoleonic era to more accurately represent the change from 1700s to the 1850s, which is our end date. So, as you can see from these factions, we have brought a number of models over from our friends at ROT. We thank them very much for allowing us to borrow these models, and they are very lovely and fit our mod perfectly. So, every faction will be receiving some beautiful new models, and most of them already have. You may also notice that we have unit cards now, and these are for every faction. So every faction will have their own unit cards and unit info cards done by our talented team, also known as Hazmufasa and Frozen Stag. And yours truly is working on the redesigns and new units for our new rosters. So, such as the Barbary States, I'm going to be creating some new units for most factions. I'm not going to be completely reworking every roster, of course, because that would just be silly, and most of our Western European rosters are fairly fleshed out. But I am doing a lot better now than I was at Bolivars, so believe me, we will have a lot better rosters than we did in that, and Bolivars 2.0 inevitably will at the same time have more diverse rosters when it comes out as well. So, beautiful. Another thing you may notice, actually, is we've done recoloring. Thanks to our beautiful scripter, Rennet. He went through and recolored almost every unit. I think he has recolored every unit to accurately represent its faction. Unless it's a mercenary unit like these Balkan Line infantry. We feel, personally, that this at least adds some detail, if not being completely historically accurate. We feel like it is better for gameplay, so that's why that's been done. But yes, as you can see, we have beautiful 1800s units, and these are coming to every faction. Another very cool little detail feature is that when you upgrade units, they receive these little subsidiary banners, which go along with the main banner, of course. I actually think this is really cool. It's a nice little detail. Of course, it's not that necessary to make the units look good, but it's things like this that make everything come together. Though I will be honest, the upside-down Prussian flag just really ain't doing it for me. But yeah, that'll be fixed. Don't worry about that. As you can see, it looks really cool on this stuff. And they flap in the wind. Feature? Bug? Who knows? But it's glorious. Look at them charging. Oh, do you see the glitchy side? Oh, it's beautiful. It's like Empire Total War flags. You may also notice that we have actually added a new type of cannon. That would be the 6-pounder. I believe this is also in 2.5. But if you've only played Bolivars or 2.0, yes, we have added a new cannon. It is the 6-pounder. It comes before the 12-pounder and after the Renaissance cannon. Also, continuing on about what I said about the unit cards, as you can see, all of these unit cards are reflective of the models in the game done by Hazmufasa, who did the unit cards, and Frozen Stag, who did the unit info cards. These have been done for every faction and are uniquely different, so they are not just copy-pastes of the same image over and over again with just slight recolorings, which the models technically are. Now, finally, on to some campaign details, which I know everyone's been looking forward to. You can see that we have ported over the models that we've been using for the generals and the captains from Bolivars into Lucium Europe. So as you can see, here is the faction leader image for Northern Europe. We have the normal general image for the Europe, and we have the captain, who is a little depressed because he had to take a bit of a long walk from Slovakia. And if I had to walk from Slovakia, I'd be pretty depressed too. We also have these new campaign models for our Middle Eastern factions. So these are the general models, and this is the captain models. Again, the captain's a little depressed, long walk. Unfortunately, the general models and these faction leader models are not different, but this is the best we could do right now. And moving on to some of our new mapping changes. So as you can see by the image that you're being shown on the screen, which is a map of all regions in the game, there have been a litany of changes done to the map. Kind of repetitive, if I do say so myself, in my speech, of course, not the changes, but yours truly, Mythic, went through and personally tried to make sure that all borders were about as accurate as they could be. We're just trying to make this a little more historically accurate so we can properly represent the time period that this is in, i.e. the 1700s. So yes, we did a complete overhaul of the map and regions. Unfortunately, we were unable to add as many regions as we would like to because Medieval 2 is capped at 199 regions, so there are some very barren parts of the map. Now alright everyone, the part you've all been waiting for, the new map extension. I think at this point I have made you all suffer, I've tortured you enough. I am going to reveal it. Drum roll please. Saddest self-drum roll in the... Jesus Christ man, can't speak English. Saddest self-drum roll in the world. Ta-da! Scandinavia! Yes! We've heard your calls, some of you. We have heard the calls for Scandinavia to be more implemented in the mod. Right now, Sweden in the base game only starts at about here, and you can't really go that far, and there's no Finland. I mean, who wants to get finish line infantry when there's no Finland? But now, Finland exists. Now, we do understand that unfortunately Scandinavia is a bit barren. We had to stick to the coastline mostly. The reason for that is, like I said, Medieval 2 is capped at a certain region limit, and we didn't want to... I mean, going over the region limit will completely break the game. It will refuse to work. And so sadly, there are a lot of barren areas up here. That is the main reason that they are all on the coast like this, is so it'll be easier for ships to go around and hopefully allow for some better fighting in here. That way people are not trekking through hundreds of miles of wilderness just to take a small village. But yes, we are very proud to announce that pretty much Scandinavia has been added, and it actually makes Sweden a superpower now. Some people are saying Sweden definitely deserves to be more powerful at this time in the Great Northern War, and we totally agree. So therefore, Sweden has received the most settlements from this extension, with 4 new regions, including Sundsvall, Skellefteå, Oulu, and Abo. I'm very bad with pronunciations. Sweden also will be getting St. Petersburg in the next version. For more historical accuracy, at the time they did own this kind of area around St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg didn't actually exist till 1707, but that is besides the point. Anyway, Sweden is receiving a big buff from this update. However, Denmark-Norway is also receiving a new settlement, that being Stavanger. Stavanger actually originally was here on the map, but we've actually added Oslo instead, so that will be Norway. And this will be Norway, and this will be Denmark, and together, that's Denmark-Norway. Russia also received some new additions, including Petrozavodsk and Arkhangelsk, or Archangel, and pretty much the biggest award goes to the biggest region in the game, that being Omsk, also known as the Great Giga Region of the Far East. I may have coined that term right here on the spot, but I think it makes a fitting name. So yeah, we were going to originally have 2 or 3 settlements in here, but like I said, due to restrictions on mapping, we have one massive region, as you've probably seen in the mapping changes part. Continuing on to more mapping changes, you guys all remember the poll that you all graciously voted for recently, or by recently I mean a couple 100 months ago. I don't know what I'm saying. Please help my head. But you all said it, and so we oblige. Kazakhstan will be coming to Europe 3.0. And so that means Kazakhstan gets a bunch of new regions. So as you can see, we have historically named some regions for the time period of the Kazakh Khanate, and their region has been beautifully fleshed out, as they'll have a beautifully fleshed out roster. Another region seeing some minor changes will be that of Iraq. Iraq will also be a new faction added in Lucium 3.0. It will be a sub-state of the Ottoman Empire, and they will start with 3 cities in the Mesopotamian Basin area. One of our more exciting additions is going to be the Barbary States. Now, of course we understand that the Barbary States were actually just a series of states in northern Africa or the Maghreb region, controlled by multiple different leaders, but they were all basically privateers for the Ottoman Empire. Unfortunately, Due to Medieval 2's faction limits, which is different from the region limits, we decided that we would only add one faction, that being just the entire Barbary states, very similar to how Empire Total War handled it. But, to make this region more fleshed out, we have added 2 new cities over here and moved some around to change the borders to make things a bit more fun when it comes to playing in this area. So playing as Morocco versus the Barbary states or vice versa will be a fun and new interesting experience for any players who decide they want to play in North Africa, making it a viable region to be in. Barring that, with some more unfortunate news, you can no longer get into the Great Sahara Desert. This has been completely blocked off in the new version, and a giant fog of war is blocking you from seeing it. Very sad, I know. It was everyone's favorite region of the map. We're really sorry about this. Feel free to unsubscribe. We've also had to make some cutbacks when it comes to the Arabian and Afghani regions. We hope that nobody will take this too personally, but we did have to remove a couple regions from in here in Arabia, and we removed most of the regions in Afghanistan, leaving it with 2. This had to be done to accommodate the 199 region cap. As I've been explaining, it really does affect us negatively, and we are really upset about that. But we did the best that we could, and one major thing that is missing from this glorious map is everyone's favorite island, Iceland. Yes, Iceland will not be making an appearance in here. Very sorry. But you can go to the Faroe Islands. So anyway, everyone, that will be the end for this episode of the Lucium update video series. I hope I will see you all next month. We are really working hard to bring you guys the best experience, and I know that sounds like the most corporate gibberish thrown at you every time. We're working very hard to make sure you're all happy, but it truly is what we're doing. We are working so hard. Everyone on this team is such a hard worker. We are dedicated to the cause, and we are genuinely trying to make the most Empire Total War-like experience that we possibly can to Medieval 2. So again, thank you all for watching. We are so excited as we continue developing on Lucium 3.0, and we really hope you guys are excited too. Lucium 3.0 will be coming this year, sometime around the summer area. I cannot specify, however. So anyway, remember to like, comment, subscribe. Mythic out.